at that point, I didn't have a ton of friends. Most of the friends that I had were involved with this stuff. And I did, and I, they were impressed, and we would sort of compare notes and see Vesper was talking about this when she was on your show.
Yeah.
Did
that surprise you at all to hear her powerful stories? No. Yeah.
No, I wept like the whole time.
I love that woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for those watching, if you haven't seen my interview with Vesper Stamper on her conversion from Wicca, please go watch it. It was glorious.
My wife was, I told my wife before we got married that all this stuff happened, but I didn't go into detail for the obvious the reason that I explained. But when we were watching it together, and I think it hit her, like what it was like for me, and she, she wept too. Because it resonated so much, and that childish experimentation and wanting power, wanting acceptance, and I feel that there's a part of me that doesn't want to. I know there's a part of me that doesn't want to go into detail too, because people are going to say, "Oh, he was just a stupid kid. He thought he was doing stuff that he wasn't," which might be true. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a reliable narrator, but it felt real, and I know that the stuff that happened later was real. I mean, I would. If someone wants to say I wasn't a good magician, okay. But when we get into the Satanist stuff, if anyone wants to say, "Oh, that's all," I would push back hard on that. But we can go into that.
Okay.
So I, in the course of, the circle that I had at that time, where they were into white magic. They were, I do believe, really, really good people, mostly younger people, just trying to, little love spells and stuff for the girls. And then I was into the healing stuff. And, but then as I got really interested in rune casting, rune spells, and then I found demonic sigils. Can you explain both of those things to me? Yeah. So runes, people probably know what runes are. They're ancient symbols that have power, or are supposed to have. They probably do have power. But sigils are symbols that you draw as part of ritual magic to summon demons. And every demon has his own sigil. Were you referring to them as demons at the time? Yeah, demon. I don't actually know the exact etymology, but demon is very closely related to the word daemon, Daemon, which is a kind of powerful force. And so, for me and for a lot of people that are not, at that point, I was not a Satanist. I was probably some kind of Wiccan, I guess. And for people that practice white magic with demons, they don't consider them evil. They consider them more like natural spirits, but particularly natural spirits that have been identified by Christianity as particularly powerful evil. So there's obviously a draw there. Mm-hmm. If you're kind of rebelling against a Christian upbringing, you gravitate towards that, and it's it's like, oh, they're not really demons, they're actually, and this is the I had I don't even know if I want to say their names. I won't say their names. I had relationships with spiritual relationships with a few different demons, and then
what does that mean?
I don't think I should probably talk about it.
Okay. Is it like a person who would think they have a relationship with a saint or a guardian angel or something like that, or is it much more involved?
At first, yeah, it was more like that. It was more like that. There was presence, and then, but then I worked my way up to Lucifer, and Lucifer, obviously, in the Luciferian tradition, which is it's the belief that Lucifer is, that he's kind of a Promethean hero. He rebels against God. He brings light. He's the morning star, right? And he's always depicted as this beautiful angel, kind of cold and haughty, but that's because he has power, and he gives you this power. And so eventually I became pretty much just exclusively a Luciferian, and And I remember, being in high school, and I could still do it. I mean, I drew the sigil of Lucifer on my notebooks, the way a schoolgirl would draw the name of her crush. Like they're probably in my parents' basement. I had notebooks, math notebooks and history notebooks and English notebooks covered with the sigil of Lucifer. And I was absolutely, I was like, yeah, it was like a crush. I was infatuated with Lucifer. And this eventually, again, through the influence of the internet, it developed, I developed into a Satanist, a theistic, what they call traditionalist or theistic Satanist, as opposed to a LaVeyan Satanist.
Could you tell us the difference?
Yeah, so LaVeyan Satanism is, if you read about the Church of Satan in the news, they're LaVeyan Satanists. They claim not to believe in a literal Satan, but Satan as as a symbol of human freedom and of rebelling against Christian morality. But then there's a different path called theistic Satanism or traditional Satanism, which believes in Satan, literally believes in Satan, takes the side of darkness. And it's an interesting bait and switch, because you come, I think, and I've talked to people that have had the same experience. They come to Lucifer because they want light, and then they find themselves going into darkness and then craving the darkness. And I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I was some great, dark philosopher, like, something out of Lovecraft. But I was like a punk, right? I was just a punk kid. And I bought, I had a sweatshirt that I got from Spencer's that had the sigil of Baphomet on the back. And I was all dark and grungy, and I was, very proud of my Satanism, and I talked about it too. Anyone that would listen.
At this point, did your parents intervene?
No, I don't know what they thought. I didn't really talk to them about it. I'm not a very good son. I think that's one of the pitfalls of being a really good parent, and making sure that your children always know that you love them, is that they take liberties with that. And I've taken horrible liberties with my parents' love my whole life. And I think at this point, I wasn't going to talk to them about it openly, but I think that they probably thought that I was going through an emo phase or goth phase. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't think that they knew how literally to take it. But and at this point, I was kind of shunning my old, Wiccan friends. I thought that they were, weak because they were only interested in the white magic. And I honestly, it became less about I did still practice magic, but it became less about the magic and more about the worship of Satan. And I don't know, people listening to this might not make any sense, but it was just, I became so consumed by this personality. And I think that, I don't know if the person is the right word. I think they say that angels are persons, right?
Yes.
And it was a personality, and I had a relationship with this personality. And I remember when I was one day I was in my room, and I lit the red candles, and I was doing a prayer, and I said, I don't even know if I want to, probably should say I told Satan, I don't want to sell you my soul. I said, just take it. Take it. I love you. I want you to have this. I want you. Yeah. And I think we'll go into this, but I think in the end, that's probably what saved me. Or at least allowed God to keep a foot in the door. But
because it was taken, not given? Or
because I don't think Satan can't do anything with love. Satan doesn't want love. Father Amort said that Satan doesn't have children because he can't create, he can't love. Satan doesn't want children, he wants slaves.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.